We come out of this game with a lot of work to do. I mentioned last night that we have to do a better job in the penalty situation, and I got to do a better job. I got to do a better job getting the message across, and to be that far out of whack compared to your opponent in the game is really to give them a great advantage, and we have to do better there. And it doesn't matter who you play. We continue to take care of the football all right, and that's not an issue. And but in games like this, penalty situations can hurt you, and we got hurt in this game. So we got to clean that thing up. We have a lot of work to do in a lot of areas, and so we're going to go at it and get this thing turned around, get ready. We have an extra day that we're going to try to rest right now. So hopefully we can take advantage of that and get cranked up for Monday night and be a really interesting matchup with Buffalo, a team that we have not been really very familiar with in the past. So we'll see if we can catch up on that one, and they have to do the same. So it'll be a good matchup.
Looking back on the final play, is there, in the whole process and how everything happened, is there anything different you guys would do to try to handle the final play or the play call you had or anything like that?
Yeah. About 6 inches to get inbounds and win the game. It was a great throw and catch, and we just missed it by a foot. And I mean, there's all kinds of things you could do. But in that case, we picked up the pressure that they threw out. Russ saw what it was and protected it, and we had a throw to win the game. And I thought just getting the chance to win the game right there was, that's what we were hoping for, and we did, and they won. They got a great win.
You mentioned you've got to do a better job penalties. How do you do that in the middle of the season?
Everything. It's just more ownership, of all the little things that we do that all count, and they did a nice job out of it, and so we can do it too, and we've done it. I go back just a couple of weeks ago. We had no offensive penalties, and we had 3 for the game, and then 3 weeks later we had 11. We got to get more consistent.
In the last play, you mentioned this morning that there wasn't time to change the route once you saw the defense.
Yeah, by the time Russ figured out that, and they showed what they were doing, he changed the protection to pick up the pressure. He had to go ahead and snap the ball, and that's just because they hit it well and they disguised it. It wasn't like we were negligent. They just did a nice job, and he saw it. And by the time he got going, he had to go with the routes that we had, and he tried to make the most of it.
Do you have any more indication of what Bradley saw when he did next week?
He did work out prior to game and was very close, so he has a chance. Really, it'll be day to day, but he has a chance to get back.
How did George play when you went and looked at it?
Once George got going and he settled in, he did well. He did some very good things, and we were very pleased with his ability to be consistent throughout the game and do the right thing and make his calls and all that. So for his first game, it was impressive. It gives us a chance to think of him as a guy that can compete and play there, and so it was a successful game. Unfortunately, he had a clipping penalty, and he was the one that had the push in the back. They said Brett did it, but he had that one. So he had a couple big penalties that made a difference and hurt us. But that all happened in the first quarter, and he settled in pretty good.
Are you guys starting to see overall from the rookie class kind of what you were hoping? Or early on, you're really excited about a lot of guys, and then there were injuries, whether it was a Fetty or Process, so you didn't get to see them all.
Yeah, I think with the opportunity that last night to see CJ really get in there, the first game was just kind of a blink, and this thing he had a chance to make some runs. He had a chance to catch the ball, make a big play. That was pretty exciting, and we've really been waiting for him. Jermaine played better again, did a nice, solid job for us. We saw Nick get in there and do some good things. Of course, Jaron continues to play, so it's a really good group of guys. And that's to go along with that. Some of the undrafted guys, are starting to show up, and we're pleased with a lot of guys. So that's a good group.
Pete, it seems like you're going out of your way not to harp on the officiating from yesterday's game because it's not productive. But when you're talking about things that you need to do better, is part of that the conversations with the league about what is being called and also what's not being called?
Well, if I thought that was the case, then I'd be on the phone all the time to them. I don't think I can influence them at all. I'm just trying to learn what they're calling, understand their interpretations so that we can make sense of, try to see why something was called the way it was so that we can help our guys play better and play more informed. That's as important as anything. There's not a lot of plays that I'm turning in that they didn't call. There's a few of them, and we'll do that like we do every week. And so, you said the word. It's not productive to spend a bunch of time talking with you guys about that. So I'm just going to do the procedure that we have, try to get the understanding that we can, and help our guys play better with that understanding, but also by doing our things right too.
As far as you understand the 2 plays that looked like there might have been a cause for offensive pass interference against New Orleans, the issue there, I think I heard you say was that maybe Jeremy wasn't fighting through enough or something like that, or he was. It was
No, I didn't say that at all. I didn't say that. If I did, I don't remember saying that one. I didn't say that. No, we got blocked off the line of scrimmage. Both guys were coming off blocking, and it's all a question of timing for the officials, and also the placement of the player if he's within a yard of the line of scrimmage. So that's what they have to determine. So that's one of them. The other one was there was a legitimate, we got knocked off pretty good. Now, I'm really anxious to hear what they say about that, but that's what happens.
Did Michael Bennett have his surgery today, and how did it go?
He didn't. It's Wednesday. It's been moved to Wednesday.
Is that
Should
changed?
be down in L.A.
Okay. Does that change the timeline, recovery, or anything?
Yes, by 2 days. Sorry.
Offensively, what do you need to do to get more explosive plays back?
We need to get out of what we've been in here the last 2 weeks. This is not the way we're going to play football. We'll fix this, and it just happened back to back to us in very similar fashion, and I can't wait to get back on the practice field. I mean, we all feel the same.
How would you evaluate?
There will be some things that will look different.
How would you evaluate Christian Michael at this point? Are you getting what you'd like to get from him?
We all feel like he's been very consistent. He's looked explosive. He's made some good special plays. He's been the consistency of taking care of the football and all that kind of stuff has been excellent. We just want him to have more opportunities and get out in the open. He had a game, the run he had a couple games ago, he breaks it right off the bat. He's had a couple chances like that we want to come back to and give him those ops again, see if he can't get loose. He's looked pretty close a couple times to springing it. But he's been consistent, and he's running for a pretty good average. And just in general, we just need to get more shots. We just need more. We need to dig in with the running game. And we have not been able to get that done, and it's frustrating to say that. Other than a couple of the games that we got out ahead and got in hand, it hasn't gone the way we want it to. So we're just going to keep plugging away. We're not stopping with anything that we believe in, because we know the formula we want to play with. We just haven't really settled into it yet, and so it's coming. And the halfway point is important to us. Taking this turn, we're kind of a game earlier than the halfway point, and we're going to take I think a really good step forward here in the next couple of weeks.
The first series after the halftime, you guys came out and ran the ball, got a lot of progress, and then next possession, you guys went back to throwing.
We mixed it. I went back and took a look at that because we made a lot of yards on the first down runs in that sequence right there. So we came back and hit it again, and then we threw the ball, ran the ball, threw the ball, and we're out. In that same drive when we were running it, we came back and mixed it. And we're not going to run every snap. We're just trying to mix it up. We felt like we could run it when we needed to. That was what we wanted to establish right off the bat. And that's the half went as it went. There's 4 possessions in the second half. And one of them was a 2-minute drive.
In the stretches that the 16-3 split in the first half, I know down at distance, that's a big part of it, but how many of those the last couple of weeks have just been, the pass was there, and the call at the line became a pass rather than a run?
Go right back to where you started.
16 passes, 3 runs in the first half.
Oh, yeah.
How much of that becomes a run-pass option that just became pass because that's what the defense gave you, and how much of that is just...
There is a couple of those that happened, and there are always a couple of those, but then there was also another 2-minute drive in there too that ate up, that made the number that's significant is, remember that we had a touchdown on a turnover, so we give the ball right back to him. We also had like a 3-play drive on the big play that we had, and then we threw an interception on the second play. So there's 3 drives that don't amount to any plays at all in there. So it's kind of misleading in the sense, we get 14 points out of that, but they got the ball again, and so it gets a little out of whack, and you have to live with that. We had 3 first downs in the first half. We 1 out of 3. So it's a little bit misleading, but it's frustrating too, because that's happened the last couple of weeks for different reasons, and you don't get enough information going into halftime to really have a real sense of how you want to go. That's why we came out and just tried to dig into the game plan, go right back to what we wanted to do, and see how things would work, and see if we can get back on track.
When you haven't been able to run the football, what have you seen from the unit as a whole? When you've been able to get to it, what have you seen from the backs?
We still feel like the potential there is there to run. We feel like we're more equipped than we were a year ago. We feel like we can be better. We think we can be more aggressive. And but there are some elements that are different in the run game this year than last year at this time. That and part of it's we have not allowed Russell to take off and run very much, and he's been very effective for us over the years, and so we've had to take care of him, and that's just part of the way this season has been. He's getting better. He's getting better, and I'm really fired up about that, and we're going to keep progressing as he is able, and do what we can do to to get back to the kind of mix that we like. And I know it's coming, and so I'm pretty optimistic about it. We just need to keep slugging it out here, and as we find our way, and we're getting close.
What was your overall assessment of how Russell played yesterday?
I thought he played solid game. Stayed out of trouble. He had just one bad look. He looked off and came back and threw a ball, thinking that he had a different setup there, and he gave him an interception. But that so rarely happens, and all that. He's made a mistake. That's all. But other than that, I thought he threw the ball well. Missed a couple chances down in the red zone that we needed, and we weren't quite as open as we counted on, so he had to jam the ball a couple times. But he played pretty well. He moved well when he had his chances, and threw the ball in the run pretty well a few times. And it shows us the signs that we're getting better. He's really improving.
It seemed there was a few times he got a little antsy in the pocket and kind of moved himself into pressure. Did you see that? And what do you?
There was a couple times, and that's always a case when you have a guy like Russell who has all of the resources. Sometimes, as he escapes, he can escape into trouble. Sometimes he gets out of it even when he does. And so, we've been around Russ for a long time, and he makes a lot of great things happen when he moves. Every once in a while, it gets you, and we've learned to live with that.
Brock Coyle started for you guys, played a lot of snaps. Just what did you see out of him?
He did a solid job first time out. He did a particularly good job supporting down on the goal line. He had some really good hits down there and helping out. But he played pretty solid game first time out. So we were pleased for what he did for it's the first time he's ever played Sam.
You mentioned that Russell didn't play with ankle braces this time. Well, what was it? How was that limiting him?
It just feels limited. He would tell you it's cumbersome. It's a cumbersome feel. He still has ankles taped, but just the feeling of that is, and just like wearing a knee brace, you feel like you're carrying a lot of extra weight. It's not that heavy, but it just feels cumbersome, and there's a sense of that. And he was really pleased that he made it through without that. He felt better. He looked better during the week of practice, moving around as well, and he came out of the game without getting nicked at all in any one of his multiple areas that we're concerned about. And so that's a real positive, and I'm fired up to see him come back this week and get back after it.
How much did you miss Bennett?
You can't replace Mike Bennett now. He's a special player. He's got so many things in him that you can't predict. The unusual playmaking and the problems that he gives an opponent. He's a unique player. I think Frank did a nice job and was active and really pretty much filled in for him. But Mikey's, he's the real deal, and there's a reason why he's such a renowned player, and you're going to miss some of that.
How's Tony McDaniel?
He's okay. He would have been able to come back into the game real late in the last sequence, so the trainers feel like he's going to be fine for this week.
The Saints were able to have a little bit of success on the ground, which is pretty uncharacteristic. Is that a lot to do with the fact that Mike wasn't out there, or just what was working?
They really had two big plays. They had the big toss that got out that we'd stopped a couple times, and they finally hit it. We broke down on the play, and they had one other play late that got about 12 or something like that. But all in all, I felt like we hammered away at the running game. They just kept sticking it up, running off tackle, and we hammered it pretty good. I wasn't disappointed in the run play except for the toss that got out, really. I think we've been pretty consistent. They were like 3.5 yards a carry or something like that. But they were very patient, and they did a very nice job of mixing run and pass. And what they were able to do in this game is really control the distance of the third down plays. They're a great third and short team, 3rd and 2 through 6, and have been for years. And they were really situated to play that way in this game, and it really played into their strength and made it very difficult for us.
Did Russell's pec injury limit his ability to throw deep?
Just that we were a little concerned because he wasn't able to really let it go all week long, and so we went in with a couple different times. There was times we were a little bit limited in the thought, could he, until we saw him throw the ball around a little bit, because we really would. He did a very good job of, not wasting any throws during the week and trying to determine whether he could, knowing that he would probably be okay. And so there was a little bit of that in the game.
Do you expect it to linger in this
No.
week at all, or is he good?
I do not.
You said on the radio this morning that you feel like the offense is about to make a pretty big turn. Can you elaborate on why you think that is?
I think health is part of it. I think we're, getting our QB through a game where he finally gets through clean and all that. He's been making it through the games. Like I've said, he's done an extraordinary job of playing football for us under these circumstances, and he's done everything he could possibly do to help us. If there's been any limitations, it's limitations we put on him just to try to keep him safe and keep him sound out there, and keep him playing. And he's busting at the seams, and he's ready to go. So the fact that he made it out again is a really good sign, and I'm anxious for this week to get started.
Where is Thomas Rawls in his recovery at this point?
Thomas ran really well today. He had his first really vigorous full speed workout on the practice field, and it went really well. Now it's a measure of how he responds to that, how he comes back, and how hard we can continue to condition him to get him right. That was a really good sign. Now, what that means, I don't know. I don't know that. But this was the best he's been, and he ran full speed for the first time today.
Is there any chance he can play against Buffalo?
No.
Cam Chancellor, what is his situation?
Again, I checked on that one too. We're not going to know here until we get through this week. Unfortunately, it's just been a lingering problem, and we got to see if we can get through it. He's close. He's got full strength and all that, but we got to get him through and ensure that he's back. We don't want to just barely make it back. We got to make it back, and he stays back. So we'll be careful with that, but we'll see what happens. We won't know until late in the week.
You mentioned C.J. Procise earlier. When you drafted him, there was these ideas that you had these roles for him, and it kind of got pushed down the line. This could stay on the field, but was what we saw Sunday sort of what you guys were hoping to see?
I think we're scratching the surface a little bit. You saw him move around a little bit. You saw us do some things with him. We really trust his athleticism now. He's got a lot of ability. He's got a lot of speed. He understands a lot of stuff. He can run routes, and he can come out of the backfield. He's a very exciting player, and we're hoping that we can get him more involved. But we're just starting. A handful of plays, played about 15 or 12 plays or something like that, whatever it was.
How much is the wrist an issue with him at this point? The brace.
He's made it through that. Yeah, it's still a secure brace that he has on there, but he's made it through that. And he's ready to go.
On the play where they ruled, I think it was Hightower, that he was still in bounds, forward progress, and the clock didn't stop. Did it take some time for you guys to realize that that's what they had ruled?
Yeah, that's why I had to run down the sidelines to get the officials' attention. It just looked like a typical knocked out of bounds play, and we were going on to the next thing, trying to save a timeout, and then just had to take care of business there.
Did your replays? What did the replay show you? Because you said you didn't see it after the game.
Yeah, we'll send it in. I'm curious to see what they say.
Is the estimate for Bennett still 3 weeks, or what's the best estimate?
We're going to stay real positive and say 2 to 3. That's what they told us right off the bat, and we'll know more Wednesday afternoon. That's not necessarily that we'll be able to tell you that right on Wednesday afternoon, but we'll know more Wednesday afternoon.
How about Luke Wilson?
Luke is coming around. He ran today, and he has said Buffalo. He's going to try to do that. We'll see what happens, and that's an amazing accomplishment if he can pull that off. We'll see.
Anything else? Thank you.